I joined the WA Symphony Orchestra in 1990, so this makes it my 23rd year. I'm section principal clarinet, and even though I wasn't here in 1987 for Vladimir Verbitsky's first concerts, I've been in this orchestra and experienced many of his concerts. Probably the two lasting memories I've had of his concerts are when he's conducting Tchaikovsky's Fifth Symphony and the Rachmaninoff Second Symphony. And we've played both those pieces many times with other conductors, including at least a few times with Vladimir, and I have to say he's got the most exciting version of Tait 5 that I've ever played. Another great memory is the performance of Rachmaninoff's Second Symphony. And in the third movement there's a very long clarinet solo that opens the movement and lasts for about half a page of the clarinet music, which is actually quite a substantial solo for a clarinetist to play. And this happens at about a halfway point through the symphony. So there's still about 30 minutes of music to go, the end of the third movement and the fourth movement. And it's a wonderful solo to play, but it's always a sense of relief when you know it's gone well and the movement's finished and the fourth movement starts. So at the end of the fourth movement, great applause, fantastic performance. And Vladimir comes on for a bow, comes back on for a second bow, and suddenly I see him walking straight towards me through the orchestra. And I'm thinking, what's going on now? So he comes straight through the second violins, the flutes part ways. He comes up and grabs me by the arm and takes me down to the podium out the front. Never happened with another conductor, so very personable man for him to appreciate his musicians like that. And it was a great experience.
I've been with WASO now for 24 years, and my first experience with Vladimir was actually in Victoria. He was conducting the orchestra I was with over there, and the last piece that I played with that orchestra was Shostakovich 5 with Vladimir conducting. And of course, what was the first piece that I played with WASO? Shostakovich 5 with Vladimir conducting. So that piece holds a special memory for me. And I would have to say that it's, I've played that piece quite a few times, and that would have to be the ultimate version of it, I'd have to say. I took a whole series of photos of Vladimir when he was conducting Gary Carr's concert with us, which I think was in 1991 or 2, which I particularly enjoyed because Vladimir is so expressive with his gestures and his facial expressions. And it's a real joy to actually perform with him, because at any point in the performance when you look at him, you know exactly what the emotional content of the music is. He's just so expressive, and it makes him a great subject to take photos of as well. I believe one of the photos comes up in a slide after this, but yeah, it's I always enjoy working with Vladimir. Performances with him are very spontaneous, and the orchestra always rises another notch when we're performing with Vladimir. I think we've developed a really special relationship over the years.
I joined the orchestra in 1990, and all of my colleagues were talking about this new dynamic Russian conductor. So I was really looking forward to his first concert. And when the week arrived, and I was quite taken aback because his rehearsal method is quite thorough, very methodical, in fact quite slow really. So I was a bit surprised, but then we came to the concert, and suddenly the orchestra, which had been like a dog straining at a leash, was let go. Vlad has the ability to let it go. And the concerts are electrifying as a result of that. And I was just bowled over because really it bore no resemblance to the way we'd rehearsed during the week. And that's really his trademark, that he has the ability that's really quite rare in a conductor to let it go in a concert so that it becomes much more spontaneous, it's really dynamic. And he's done lots of different repertoire, and of course he's fantastic on the Russian repertoire, and we've done that a lot with him. And then he's tried experimenting with other repertoire, and I remember we did a Beethoven 7, and we were a bit dubious because we'd never done anything quite so classical with him. And similar rehearsal period, and we were a bit unsure. And then we came to the concert, and it was the most fabulous Beethoven 7 I've ever played. And the way he's able to pull it around and do things that's never happened before that he does in concert, it's a real gift, and we're lucky to have him because the concerts are always magical because of that, as tonight and tomorrow afternoon will be.
I have so many experiences of Vladimir to tell, I hardly know where to begin. But one that does stand out is when we were doing a country tour. I think we were, I think it was Any ABBA, now that I'm trying to remember, and it would have been 10 or 12 years ago, and it was Vladimir's first experience of the genuine outback Australia. So he came dressed to the nines for the experience, this beautifully pressed striped shirt with the collar and the tie, and wonderfully ironed pants, and he really stood out. And we stopped at this pub at Any ABBA to have a drink and a bit of refreshment. And Vladimir decided he would indulge in a game of pool with some of the locals. And what a fantastic experience to watch him doing that. He just, as he does with the orchestra when we're rehearsing, threw himself into the experience and was genuinely a part of what was going on. And as you can imagine, surrounded by all of these huge blokes in blue singlets and blue stubbies, and here's Vladimir with his tie and shirt. It just was the most wonderfully contrasting image you could imagine. And Vladimir brings all of those sort of qualities to the rehearsals and the concerts. He's able to have that endearing quality of being able to laugh at himself at the right moment. Often things will get a bit stressed or tense when we're running out of time, and Vladimir's wonderfully able to disarm a potentially explosive moment by laughing at himself and taking the mickey out of himself, whether it's in English or Russian, doesn't really matter, but you can tell what he's doing. So I think the orchestra and myself personally have a deep affection for Vladimir, and it's been a wonderful ride over 25 years.